Well, guess what? It's morning. Well, it's a day anyway. We're here. We're alive. We woke up. That means we're blessed. That's the true blessing right there. Each and every day when we wake up, we are blessed. Anything else that comes after that, that's a bonus. Hi, my cat. As soon as I start talking and sitting back, you want to be involved? Well, come up here. Let's have a prayer. What do you think? Should we say a prayer? Huh? Father, we are grateful for the blessings of this beautiful day. We're grateful for the love that we get to experience. We're grateful for the beauty that we get to witness. Father, we're grateful for the life lessons that come at us, for the obstacles that we get to overcome, for all the growth that we get to achieve. Father, we're grateful for the ability to be able to face our fears and to conquer them. And Father, we are grateful for thy presence in our lives. And these things, Father, we pray in thy Son's name. Amen. So yeah, welcome to the Hobo Hideaway. So this segment's called Talking Shit with Jack Schitt, and my name's Jack Schitt. So I'll be your host. Imagine that. And yeah, anything we share here, any type of information, was strictly just for documentary, educational, and entertainment purposes only. And we don't buy, sell, or trade anything ever. Any opinions that get expressed here are strictly the opinions of myself or anybody who decides to leave a comment in the comment section. And anybody's welcome to leave a comment. You can talk about whatever you want. You can agree with me. You can disagree with me. Just, I'd appreciate it if you were polite and respectful about it. Yeah. Sometimes it's hard, though. I understand. Anyway, cat's got a little bump on her. I can't tell. I hope it's not a tick. There's a lot of that going around. I think it might be time to oil them, but oh no, that's the beginning of the month. It's the middle of June already. I forget because of the weather. It don't look like a tick. Just some sort of skin tag coming in. I don't know. It don't look like a bugger. But yeah, they've been dumping those ticks all over the place, so I just don't know. I still haven't got all the weeds conquered. So far, the weeds are conquering me. But yeah, we're getting them done a little bit at a time. That's how you get anything done. Especially the older you get, it's harder to get things done quick. When I was in my 20s and 30s even, man, I could have run circles around my older self for sure. I used to laugh and joke when I was younger about that, oh boy, yeah, I'm never going to be weak like that. I'm never going to be tired like that. I'm never going to be old like that. I'm going to keep on just being young and strong and invincible forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Forever and ever. But that didn't work out, and I'm pretty sure, looking back now, that all the old guys that I ever hung out with that were my mentors that I learned from, they all had the same ideologies. They all told me about how, yeah, when we were young, we thought we were invincible too, and we can just conquer anything and do anything. And for the most part, they did until the day they didn't. And it was a slow progression. And I remember in my own life, it's been a slow progression. It's been a pretty quick progression, but it's been a slow progression. I mean, if you know, you know. All right. The thing is, see, she came over and hung out and thought I was talking to her, and then she got bored with my conversation, and she went and bounced out, went into the shop. You blame her? She is the shop cat after all. She's got little nooks and hiding places in there and whatnot. She keeps all the bad stuff out of there. So what was I talking about? Oh yeah. So reflecting back upon life and whatnot, I realized that it's the same as anything else. Just as it was for them, it is for me, and it will be for those who come after. It's just the way it is for all of us in this human life. Yeah. At any rate, so acceptance. That's what it's all about. We just got to learn to accept it, deal with it, you know. I wasn't sure if I was going to do one of these videos today or not. Uh, I turned on, well, I checked my messages and I replied to any comments that there were. That's kind of how I run my channel. I just kind of just I don't know, go with the flow and kind of learn as I go because it's just like what I just talked about. We may have a thought process about how something's going to happen. When I started this YouTube channel, I had no intentions on being a channel for real. You know, I had just quit drinking and I was going through all that sobriety stuff, trying to overcome, just anything and everything. I was going to say the anger and all that, but that I'm still trying to overcome the anger and the resentment. That's something that when you build up so much of that to your life, it takes longer to work it all out. It's not a light switch. Regardless of what anybody tries to tell you, it's a slow progression, just like anything else. Just like me pulling my weeds out there in the backyard. Just like me getting my yard work done. I do a little bit at a time, and so long as I keep working at it and never give up, it'll eventually get done. It just won't get done the way I used to do it when I was in my 20s. When I had the strength and the energy and the vitality. The willingness has always been a struggle, I figure, now that I reflect back on it. And I don't think it was any different for us or even our folks as far as the willingness went. I suppose maybe it was easier in the olden days when, the willingness was factored in with the, survival. You do it because you want to survive. And even when I was younger, yeah, that's why we went to work. We went to work because we liked to eat. We went to work because we liked gas money. We went to work because every now and again we like to have somewhere to stay indoors. We went to work because we like to take a girl on a date. Because back then that's what we did. We went on dates. Most of the time it was to the amusement park because why not? Miniature golfing was always kind of fun. I remember that. Yeah, roller rinks. Remember roller rinks? Man, I don't even think I could do skates anymore, man. Wow. That was like ancient times. Yep. Disco on the roller skates. Yeah, we did that a couple times, I figure. Later, it was all about going to the movies. That was a fun experience, going to the movies, getting popcorn and all that whatnot. But yeah, dates. That's why you want to go to work and earn some money. Now, where the people today that I talk to, my kids, my grandkids even, they don't care. They're like, well, you can feed us, you can house us, you know? Yeah. Otherwise, they're out running around, couch surfing at other people's houses, I suppose. Yeah. It's a thing, I suppose. And I know it ain't just in this realm where I see. I am an asshole. That's true. And my kids and grandkids are grumbling at me all the time for trying to still have the ideology from back in the day. where you turn a certain age, it's time for you to be a man. At least it ain't 13 like it used to be, mazel tov, 13, get out. No, it ain't like that no more. And even in my time, it wasn't like that. It was 18. Well, even now, times are changing, and I got a 30-year-old son who lived with me for a while, and then he don't no more. I guess he was 29 when he was staying here. 28 maybe even. I don't remember. Things like that. But anyway, he's got his own apartment now down the street, but how much longer? And every day I kind of live with it. Now, he gets upset with me, of course, because he's like, well, I can keep my own place and I'll be in my own place and I'm never going to live with you again. And I'm like, okay, all right. I try to have trust and faith in him, but that's just not easy when you live a lifestyle that's not sustainable. And that's none of the stuff that we ever do is sustainable unless you got a plan for the next step. And that was something I always had every time I had a job in my lifetime, especially when I was doing construction work. I didn't just wait for somebody to assign me a job. I had another job lined up before I finished the first job. Whatever job I was working on, whether I was framing in somebody's house, a new construction or whatever, all right, or putting in the stairway, or putting in the windows, or drywall, or electrical, plumbing. Electrical and plumbing got to come before drywall for sure. Yeah, a lot of that stuff gets done before the stucco even. I never did the stucco. That was always big truck and different company. I always did independent stuff. Yeah, all you need is your own tools. Man with the tools and knowledge to use it will never go hungry. I guess I need to phrase that differently. A person, because, man, woman, child, anybody, if you got tools and the knowledge to use them, you ain't going to go hungry. It's not just that, too, but it goes back to that willingness. It really does. It goes back to the willingness. And even with me, a lot of my motivation lacks because of willingness. I should be right now out there digging in the yard, mowing the lawn, pulling weeds, but I just don't want to. It rained all day yesterday and got soggy all day yesterday. And so yesterday was just one of those bummer days. Plus, it was one of them holidays that I don't like holidays. I don't like any holidays. Every holiday triggers me. It don't matter. At any rate, it's over with, so I ain't got to worry about it no more. Today's a new day. It's a new dawn. It's a new day. Yeah, we got to move on. Isn't that neat? That's like the neatest thing. So I don't even got to fret no more about yesterday's emotional cabacles. Instead, I get to focus on right here, right now, today, because today is the present. It's a gift. That's why it's called the present, because it's a gift. It's the only true gift that we have is right here, right now. I got to wake up today. I woke up late. I woke up early. Let me see. I got up real early this morning because I wanted to watch Crumbleweed. And I wanted to say hi. I missed yesterday because of crap and stuff. And I got up and I used the restroom. And then I went back to bed. I didn't even know. Went back to bed. And next thing I know, my wife's waking me up to give me breakfast and medicines. And I asked her what time it was, and she said it was 7:30. And I was like, wait a minute, we woke up late. I was like, man. So I'm sorry, Crumble. I missed your thing. I almost called it a party. It's not really a party. Kind of is a party, though. It's a gathering. It's a gathering of minds. Yes, it is. I enjoy it. I do. It's a gathering of minds, that Crumbleweed. At any rate, I missed it. It was a bummer. And then I always watch Grumpy in the morning. Grumpy's laid back carving too. And he's MIA on a top secret mission. You got to do what you got to do when you get the call. That's just the way it is. You get up, you go. You don't wait. You don't hesitate. You just do it. You know, and you have faith that you're doing what you need to be doing, that the spirits are guiding you and protecting you. You're doing what the spiritual realm commands of you, desires of you, wants of you. Yeah. That's what you do. That's what we all do. Most of us don't even have a clue we're doing it, but that's what we do. You know, we all wander around confused, wondering why half the time. Why do some things work out and some things don't? Well, things work out because we ignore the fear and we face it and we do what the spirits tell us to do, and they don't work out because of our fear and because we want something else to work out a certain way and it wasn't meant to be. You know, if I was meant to get that job, I'm going to get that job, no matter how much of that preparation I did to have that job lined up for me. It's happened many times. Many times I'll have a job lined up after I'm done with this job, and either I didn't get done with that job quick enough to get to it, or they found a better price from somebody else, or whatever, but I'll get over there and do that job, and it won't be available for me no more. Well, because somebody else was able to get to it quicker than me and cheaper than me. And that's the way it was in the 80s and 90s. More in the 70s and 80s, I'd say. In the 90s, the 90s were hectic and crazy. I still did some construction. I was doing concrete work in the early 90s. Let me see. 90 and 91, I was a mechanic. I worked in the junkyard, as a matter of fact. That's when I was a junkyard dog. 91. And then from 91 through 92, I worked in the cabinet shop making furniture. That was fun. We were making kitchen cabinets and stuff for new builds. That was, man, you got to go out and do all these measurements and make sure your measurements are right, and then draw it up on your blueprint and line it all out. And you know, there's not a whole lot of room for error there. You can have just like, you know, a tiny little eighth of an inch, maybe quarter of an inch max, because you can trim it up and hide that. But not too long, too short, not too long. And see, that's dangerous. You get it wrong, boy, you got to go all the way back to the shop. Now, this shop was in a town called Torona, California. Torona, Trona, Torona, California. So look that up on Google Earth and go check it out. That's realistically, really, I would say, the butthole of this planet. You drive into that town, and it literally smells like ass. It smells like sulfur, rotten eggs, and all kinds of shit. Because that's where North American Chemical Company is, and they mine out the sediment from China Lake, from that dry lake bed out there. It's called China Lake, and that's how they get the borax. That's what they mine. They mine and process all that minerals and stuff for the borax. Now, you know, they mine all kinds of other stuff, and with those borax, they make all kinds of stuff. If you know what borax is, well, if you know, you know. It's used for stuff. You make things, you know, and I think they used to wash clothes with it too, but I know they made glass with it, and they did all kinds of other fun things with it. I think it's so I think if I remember right, they used it in smelting too, but I ain't sure. At any rate, back in the day, Death Valley days, man, they had the what was it, the 100 Mule Team thing or something like that. You had a lot of history. I forgot, but see, that's why history is so wonky, is because we forget. Yeah, and by the time the old person tells the young person, it's a completely different history. Imagine that. So, but what was I saying? Something about, yeah, I lived in Trona, California. Oh yeah, the wood shop. So I was a wood shop. That's what I did there. That was until '92. All them other stories can wait for another time. But anyway, then I worked not just making furniture and whatnot, but I also worked at the North American Chemical Company as a welder's helper, doing welding of the boilers and things of that nature. Because sometimes in boilers would crack out, and you got to replace the membrane in between the boiler pipes, or you got to replace the pipes too, which means cutting out the membrane and yeah, sometimes a whole section, and welding in pieces and all the membranes. And the welds got to be good, solid, and they got to hold because of the pressure that's involved and the heat and everything else. And every time that heats up and cools down, it expands and contracts, and so that creates softness and fractures, brittleness, and stuff like that. And then bad things happen. Yep. So I did some pipe fitting work, and I did some welder assistant work there, and plus I was roofing houses because the fallout from the chemical plant would rot out all the asphalt shingles real quick. So like literally every month I'm re-roofing a house, same house every month. So I'm roofing houses. It was a small town too, way smaller than this one. But it was all company housing, so the company paid for it all. That was just it. The only job that I didn't get paid by the company was at the wood shop, and that was Art Millinger was his name. Woodwhackers. That was the name. Man, it's amazing how you remember things all of a sudden. So yeah, it was Woodwhackers was the name of the wood shop, and Art Millinger was the owner of the place. It used to be a bowling alley. He bought the old bowling alley and converted it into a wood shop. That was awesome. My mom still has the big old bookcase that I made her. It was great book, 8 foot, and it had 3 sections of shelving, and all the shelves could be moved around. It was cool. Yeah, it was fun making that. She still got it. I made that for her when I was 21. Anyway, so where am I at now? No, let me see. What year did I say I was at? 91. No, 91. I'm wrong about my dates. So if I was 21, that would have been 93. That don't sound right. Yeah. Yeah, 93. That would have been 93. Doggone it anyway. Having a memory issue. That seems like a lifetime ago, man. It's like forever and ever and ever ago. Yeah. But yeah, I did a lot of different things. A lot of different things. After the furniture shop and after I moved back out of Torona, I moved back to Riverside. Riverside. That's where I grew up, Riverside, California. And let me see. After that, I went to the military surplus store and worked there for a while. I worked at the hay and feed store, Buck and Hay, and delivering hay and feed. I worked with the horses at the horse auction. Let me see. I did that and I did that. Oh yeah, and then I was working with the other people working their property, Mary and Bernie. That was their names. And well, they paid me to go move to go. Well, they didn't pay me to move. They paid me to go to Colorado and help their widowed daughter and 3 kids, moved back to California, and so that's what I did. And that was my second ex-wife. So that's a whole nother story. And then, so of course, I lost that job after that, and I ended up quitting the other stuff, and I had to get a real job. So I got a job as a security guard, and did that, and I did concrete work again. So that was fun. That's when I did the rock waterfalls and pool copings and stuff like that for Mission Pools in San Diego. And then from there, after that ended, and that ended, of course, with the divorce and breakup and whatever, and all that court stuff and yucky stuff, and that's all a whole nother subject. So after that, let me see, I went and worked making trophies at the trophy shop. So I was doing trophies at the trophy shop. Went back to doing concrete with the other guy doing curbing. So I was doing curbing, just like mow strip type curbing. We didn't do a lot of curb and gutter stuff, mostly just the mow strip. And if you don't know what a mow strip is, that's a piece of concrete border between planters and lawn, between grass and bushes. And so anyway, we did all the curbs for the Riverside Speedway over there in Fontana, California. That was fun. It took a long time. We got big pay on that one because we was working all kinds of hours on that one. We got paid by the foot. So it didn't matter how many hours we put in the day, it only mattered how much concrete we laid. And a lot of that too depended on materials. So the dude that was running the truck, that drove the truck, he would take off and go to the Home Depot and the material yard and whatever, and come back with bags of cement and rebar and sand while we kept working. And then we just went back and forth to unload the truck and trailer, and he'd take off and go get more. And by the time he got back, we used up everything he brought us. And we just kept on moving along. That was all. We did all the parking lots, all the all the curbing. In that one, we did do curb and gutter, but we didn't do a lot of street curb and gutter. We did occasionally repairs and stuff for the cities, but anyway, that's a whole nother story. But it was a good time in my life. And then let me see. After that, oh yeah, I was also working at Jack in the Box flipping burgers for closing. So I had 3 jobs then. So I do the concrete work from 4 a.m. until 2 p.m. normally, and then I'd go work at a trophy shop from 2 p.m. until 6 p.m., and then I'd go work at the burger joint from 6 p.m. until like 10 o'clock at night, and I'd go home, take a shower, go to bed, get up and do it all over again. Yeah, that I was 23. From 23 to 24. So let me see. My son was born in 95, and then it was a year after that. So it had been 96, and I was 23 when he was born. So then from and we broke up when he was a year old. She kicked me out. She said, "I got everything I need from you. I'm gonna go be with this other guy." Again, another story. Another story for another time. But anyway, so let me see. That'd be 94. Oh, so I was 23, 24. No. No, he was born in 95. So he was born in 95 and I was 23. So, uh, see, numbers, man, it's all mixed up in my head. At any rate, I ended up working, doing that for about a year. And I did that solid for a year. And I was keeping my child support paid up and everything else. But my son's mama took me to court and mandated insurance, health insurance, and dental insurance and all that. And or the court mandated it. She wanted to get the welfare stuff because she understood the welfare stuff. But the court mandated that I provide it, and I was cool with that. So I ended up going to work for the phone company. And so I started the phone company January 97. That I won't forget. That was best thing I ever done. And I know I complain about corporations and blah blah blah, but it was working for them that I learned all this inside stuff, because that's when they started sending me down and giving me the military clearance and the government clearances, and I got to go into underground places and see the behind the scenes thing, because we were telecommunications, but we were installing stuff that, man, I'm gonna tell you, they are straight up 20 to 30 years more advanced, technologically speaking, than the private sector. That's all I'm allowed to say on the subject. All right, NDAs and shit. And they are still listening. They do know jack shit. That much I promise you. They watch me all the time, like a hawk. Yeah. But at any rate, that's irrelevant. So yeah, I went to work for the phone company in '97, and man, from there, I worked there until 2008, and I got to work with my dad most of the time because my dad's the one that got me the job. It ain't what you know in this life, it's who you know. You know, I was a high school dropout with a GED. I was a rebellious child. You know, I went my own way in life. And through all of those other jobs, I only got paid on the table half the time. You know, the concrete jobs were always on record and taxable incomes. Uh, the trophy shop was under the table. The welding jobs in the North American company, that was all on the books. Um, the roofing jobs was paid cash under the table, even though it was paid by the company. They paid me under the table, and then and they provided materials and tools and whatever, and they let me keep the tools, so that was fun. And any leftover materials, which, you know, they just stacked up and got left there when I left there. But anyway, the the wood shop, he paid half and half, and it was just, that's just the way it was. And even younger than that, most of them construction jobs was cash. You know, that was just the way it was. Military surplus was on the record. Yeah, go through my whole life, man. Telling on myself here. Anyway, yeah, plus I always had little side hustles. That was always a thing. Little side hustles. What you want, I can get it for you. I was that guy. Whatever you want, I can get it for you. Anything you want. Yeah, I was the guy that could get you anything you wanted. At any rate, that was a long time ago. Different lifetime ago. Southern California. It's a different world, man. It's like a whole different planet. Yep. And then in 2008, when I quit the phone company, I moved out of California, and that's when I became a house husband and started the Hobo Hideaway. And here we are today, the Hobo Hideaway. What's that? 18 years later, something like that. And I've been doing and running my own show for 18 years. And we ran it, paid taxes, sold our goods. We did all that for 3 years, for the first 3 years. And then we just decided it was too much stress, and dealing with the crooked government wasn't worth it, because the house always wins. Doing business and commerce, it's gambling. It really is. Everything you do, you make an investment, playing the stock market, all that, that's gambling. You don't know if your investments are going to pay out or not. You start a business, you pay out. You got to pay them for to do business. You got to pay them for permission to make money. You got to pay them for this. So now we just don't do that. We don't sell our artwork. Now we just give it away as favors, gifts, things of that nature. And then, you know, we find people love us so much for it and appreciate it so much that they donate stuff they were going to throw away anyway. And then we get donations coming in constantly. And so we just keep making things, and we just keep giving it away. And that's how we stay in what we do. I can't call it business because it's not, we don't do business. In order to do business, you got to pay permission to the mafia, the corporation of the United States of America, in order to do business. I don't want to participate in the corporation, the mafia of the United States of America, organized crime family. I don't want to. I used to. Oh, I used to, and I was good at it, and I loved it. But it's not sustainable. It's time to move on. Times are changing. People don't want to play that game anymore, and that whole system is collapsing. It's a house of cards, and a big wind is coming, gonna just blow it all away. But yeah, that was the stuff, man. A lot of stuff. There was other jobs and whatnot, but it's irrelevant. I worked in the restaurant and stuff. Even as a house husband, I got bored being a house husband. It only takes so long to do chores and yard work, and that was through my 40s, 30s, and 40s. So 2008, I was 36. So from 36 to now, I've been a house husband, retired from the world of the financial bullshit. I mean, mostly. Like I said, I'd done jobs here and there, worked for the temp services and made vitamins for a while when I was in Utah. That was all right, I suppose. I sold a lot of my artwork to all my coworkers and stuff, so that was fun. And that's when I sold my artwork, was when I was in Utah. And then we moved to Iowa, and I didn't sell my artwork at all no more. And I worked at the restaurants here. I did some security guard work, and I did some caregiving work, and all that whatnot. But I really enjoyed being a cook and a prep cook. I didn't mind being a dishwasher either. It was good for the arthritis. But I had plenty of time to do my artwork, and everybody still got free artwork all the time. And the thing about these restaurant owners, they're all 420 friendly, so they paid me half of my paycheck in taxable, so they can play the tax write-off crap, and the other half in my medicine. It was awesome. And the weird thing is everybody, all the restaurateurs that owned all the different restaurants in town that I worked for, since then have passed away. But they all passed away right after they got that shot in the arm. Oh, what's up with that, man? And they all got upset with me because I didn't want that shot in the arm. I refused the shot in the arm. But they all got the shot in the arm, and they were all about my age. And right after that, they passed away. What's up with that? That's a curious thing, I think. I might have to, well, I guess I'll leave that one alone. It's none of my business. But yeah, let their families look into that, and let their lawyers look into that. A lot of that going on these days, backlash. Anyway, I got to figure something out. My wife got some cinnamon rolls from the grocery store, with the cream cheese melty frosting on it. And she brought me that for breakfast this morning when she woke me up. And I was like, yeah, buddy. And then I tried to eat it, and it was like rubber. I thought, what the heck's up with that, man? I'll just go make my own from now on. You can't buy real food anymore. You can buy this fake rubbery food-like thing. That's not a real cinnamon roll. Now, real food's supposed to be healthy for you. And a real cinnamon roll, even though it's got all that sugar and stuff in it, it still has good stuff in it, man. It's supposed to be yummy, good, melt in your mouth. Melt in your mouth. Not, can't chew it. I mean, I ain't got no teeth anyway, so it's hard to chew anything anyway. But it's really hard to gum it and break it down. It's a thing, man. But yeah, I got to do some day stuff, find something else to eat. What I really want is eggs, but I ain't got none. I want bacon, but I can't chew it. It's a thing. But some eggs and sausage would be nice. Sausage, eggs, and cheese in a tortilla. Breakfast burrito. And then I got to do some yard work. The grass is still real wet out there from raining all day yesterday and last night, the night before. The ground is soggy. So I have no desire to run my lawnmower over it. You shouldn't not have cut your grass when it's wet anyway. Not just that. I mean, it gums up the lawnmower, but it's not good for the grass. All right, you can burn your grass that way. But there's plenty of other things I can do out there. I suppose there's still more of that junk wood that's got to get moved and all that. And then I got plenty of weeds that can get pulled. And if the ground's soft enough, I can yank them things right out like it ain't nothing. It's that bend in and pull and bend and pull, bend and pull. Well, that's a lot of core exercise. It really is. It's core exercise. It builds that gut muscle up, and that's the best kind. Is get out there and work. I was always fit when I was doing the construction work back when I was young, and working for the phone company made me soft and squishy. But my wife likes my soft, squishy places, and just like I like her soft, squishy places. It's kind of one of those things, man. Gotta love them soft, squishy places. Good love handles. The love handles. Yeah, buddy. That is the way. If you don't know, you're missing out. But if you know, you know. That's the thing. All right. Well, enough of this fun nonsense. I really need to quit procrastinating and get to busy. It's just the way. You got to get her done. That's just the way. Well, good luck to each and every one of you out there. Hope you're able to find a way to get your things done. Till next time, remember, kindness is the key. And I love you. Later. Oh, my goodness.